The Conservative government has decided to bring through free speech legislation to defend free speech on college campuses. This is something the Free Speech Union's been pushing for a long time, and it seems they've won that fight. They've been able to lobby the government on this correctly. In the Conservative Party manifesto, they said they were going to do, defending free speech on UK universities, but it was a bit broad. So, I mean, they're actually doing the thing now. So, as you can see here, this is the BBC articles. Universities could face fines over free speech breaches. So, if you are invited as a speaker to go to a university and give a speech, and a bunch of university students do a protest, and in response, the university deplatforms you. They literally just disinvite you because they're like, oh, violence could happen, or some crap.
Because they're scared of their own communists.
Yeah, then you are actually able to sue the university. Because remember, you pay for these things. They get taxpayer money. They're not private institutions that have no connection to the government. No, they are funded by the state in large part. So they're saying here that Gavin Williamson is the one who's introduced this. I know he's got a lot of flack for some other stuff that people don't like him for, but I don't care. Nah, doing good things. Seems like a good guy. He's the education secretary. So he's brought this through. So universities in England could face fines of a new legislation if they fail to protect free speech on campus. Visiting speakers, academics, or students could seek compensation if they suffer loss from a breach of the university's free speech obligations. The Higher Education Freedom of Speech Bill was one of the proposed pieces of legislation in the Queen's speech on Tuesday. So if you're a student or a teacher, you can also sue if you are infringed upon in your right to free speech. Again, it's not really a right in the UK because we don't have a written constitution. It's obviously a human right. You are born with it, but we don't have it in law. But it's the sense of, okay, if you're a university, you're getting public money, you have a duty to defend free speech, and if you don't, we will fine you. Perfect. Good Conservatives. I mean, doing a good thing here. So under the plans, new freedom of speech and academic duties would be placed upon universities, and for the first time on student unions, because student unions are cancer. I mean, they're literally like, the turnout is what, like 10% in some of these places, and it's filled with communists and Islamists. I mean, the most radical types who will weasel their way through institutions, and student unions are perfect for that sort of thing. So that's why they're awful. They represent no one but themselves. Sorry, I hate student unions. They're literally just like, oh, we represent the students. No, you don't. You represent yourself. No one voted for you. Like 10 people maybe voted for you. Scum. Anyway, so individuals would be given the right to seek compensation through the courts if their freedom of speech duties of an institution or a student union have been breached. The Office for Students, a higher education watchdog in England, would have the power to impose fines on institutions if they breach the rules. Among the proposals, there are also appointed free speech champions who would examine potential infringements of their duties. For example, the no platforming of speakers, the dismissal of academics. I mean, things we have seen in the UK. I mean, you could probably name off the top of your head a whole bunch of people who have been deplatformed. I mean, like, for example, Jermaine Greer, Peter Thatchell, Carl Benjamin, Yaron Brook, Jacob Rees-Mogg. I mean, these are just ones we showed last time. They were proposing that they bring this in. Now they're saying, yep, we're going to bring this in. I was like, great. It's just fantastic news. So the government hopes it will change and ensure that university staff will feel safe to put forward controversial or unpopular views without risk of losing their jobs. It's a very polite way of putting it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Controversial or unpopular views? No.
It's usually the truth, isn't it?
Anti-woke views. That's it, and you know it. Joe Grady, the head of the University and Teaching Union, aka the Labour Party, let's be honest, said they are serious threats to freedom of expression and academic freedom on campus. These proposals. The proposal saying if you break free speech duties, you're going to be fined. That's the threat to freedom of speech on campus. So says the Labour Party, essentially, let's be honest.
Just the classic inverse of reality of the truth coming from leftists.
But they come from
classic stuff.
Yeah, they come from the government and the university managers, not the staff nor the students. If the government wants to strengthen freedom of speech and academic freedom, it shouldn't be policing what can and can't be said on campus and encourage university managers to move staff to be more secure, permanent contracts. What? Like, if I bring through a bill that says if you censor someone, you're going to get fined. And you're like, you're controlling what I can and can't say. No, I'm controlling what you can and can't censor. Not what you can say, what you censor. And she's like, nah, this is an abridgment of free speech. Brain dead. But I mean, purposely brain dead. You can tell with these people. Yeah. There's no charity of like, oh, I mean, are they just a bit silly? No, she knows. She knows she's just lying to your face. Snake.
No, it'll be calculated. It's obviously deliberate, isn't it? I mean, the ultimate motivation is to destroy our societies in some ways, in various ways. And so whatever you need to do that, argue that.
Yeah.
Who cares if it's the exact inverse of truth and reality?
Typical socialist subversion. Just deny the truth, go health about. So I wanted to go to Gavin Williams' government blog on this, because the government has blogs. And I don't know, they're all weird. But so this is him writing in here his opinion on the whole thing. His response is a bit, but we'll go through it. So line by line. It is a basic human right, the ability to express ourselves freely and take part in rigorous debate. True. Our legal system allows us to articulate views which others may disagree with, as long as they don't meet the threshold of hate speech or inciting violence. Cringe that he brought up hate speech, but that statement is true because he says our legal system doesn't allow this. That's a true statement. It should change. There was only someone who could do such a thing about that. This must be defended, nowhere more so than within our world-renowned universities. Is he talking about the right, or is he talking about the legal system there? It's not perfectly clear. But the legal system in the UK is trash. It needs reforming. And this is the step to doing it. So kudos for that. Holding universities to account on the importance of freedom of speech in higher education is a milestone moment in fulfilling our manifesto commitment. Yes, it is. Fair enough. You actually fulfilled the thing in your manifesto by doing this. Protecting the rights of students and academics and countering the chilling effect of censorship on campus once and for all. Modernizing the universities. That's what he's doing. Because universities in the UK and over the West have been taken over by, dogmatic, I almost want to call them reactionary views, the regressive left, but it's these pathetic types who just want to censor everything that disagrees with them because they've got the new book and the new truth that they want to bash on everyone's heads until they believe in it. But good. Gavin Williamson telling the truth there.
Well, the thing I'd just say about that is it quite clearly positive or moving in the right direction. There's no way I wouldn't want to condemn this or anything at all. It's good. It's just ultimately good. The only thing I would say, though, is, of course, in the United States, it's legally entrenched the freedom of speech, but it doesn't seem to matter too much, does it? Because people, if they want to, will just ignore it anyway, or they'll just take the fine, or whatever they want to do.
If it's on,
I'm not saying don't do this. I'm not saying that at all.
Yeah, it's just on university campuses in the US. I don't know what the relationship is, how solid it is.
Right, yeah.
If they're taking taxpayers' dollars, though, I mean, it's all the Trump administration were trying to step in on exactly that point. That's the right thing to do. If they are taking taxpayers' money, they have the duties that come with it. They don't just get free cash because Gibbs. Not allowed. Anyway, so I have a letter from the Free Speech Union. I'm signed up for the Free Speech Union as a member. I think most people should because they are great guys, and they're the ones who have been type of lobbying on this sort of thing. And they sent me an email. It's my email, so I can't provide a source for this, but this is just their position on it. So they said the Free Speech Union welcomes the inclusion of higher education free speech bill in the Queen's Speech. We have intervened in over 100 campus free speech cases since our launch in February last year. February last year, they've had 100 cases from universities coming to them saying, hey, I've been censored unduly. Please, can you help me? I mean, with that, we need a free speech union in the UK. In and of itself is abhorrent. And they said it comes from students and academics alike. About 2/3 of those have been in England, and almost every one of those cases, the individual in jeopardy would have been in a stronger position if this law was already on the statute books. Some examples of cases we've intervened in, such as the no platforming of Selna Todd, Oxford Professor of Modern History at Exeter University, Oxford. The no platforming of Amber Rudd at the UN Women's Oxford UK Society. The no platform of Caroline Farrow, the Catholic campaigner at Exeter University Debating Society. The no platforming of Chris Williamson, the former Labour MP, by Royal Holloway Debating Society. The banning of Durham University Conservative Association and the Durham University Free Market Association. And it goes on and on and on, and they give a whole bunch of them. I'm going to read a couple of them that are funny, but it's the point of look, this is not some fringe issue of just a couple of students have said something naughty and then the university said shoo. No, this goes right to the core. I mean, even politicians are feeling the heat from the woke culture in the sense that they're being deplatformed from universities. This is not any small issue at all. The funny ones in here, I just have to read because they're hilarious. So they say there was an attempt by LGBT activists to get Porter fired from Clare College, Cambridge, for refusing to vote at the Cambridge Council motion in her capacity as Cambridge City Councillor. The statement in which they threatened her started with, trans women are women. It's just off to the races with just we're going to threaten you with wrongthink. There's also the mandatory unconscious bias training that was taken in Oxford, in which everyone who took it was expected to get 100% score. Nothing is except perfect anti-racism. Again, these assessments, as Josh has shown, is complete bunk in the science department. So also there's a guy who said all lives matter on Twitter, a lecturer. He was investigated by his university for a tweet. Said all lives matter. That was his crime. And then there's also the guy from Exeter Students' Union who got an email kicking him out because he had said he was invited to a Black History Month lecture and he said, I'd rather jump down a mine shaft. Based. But he ends this long list of just here's a bunch of cases we've intervened in which the universities have been, it's just abhorrent. You should not be acting in this way. Anyone who thinks the protections in universities don't need strengthening hasn't been paying attention. Toby Young, director of the Free Speech Union. Right. good guys. Like, you've done the job. You've got the thing done. And there is no argument. There is just no argument whatsoever about this. Everyone knows, even the leftists know, this has been a huge problem. Left-wing commentators like Jermaine Greer or Peter Thatcher have faced, this kind of culture. You've had Labour MPs, as they say, they've had to represent and try and protect. It's not just a right-wing thing. No. These guys have tried to hurt everyone. Of course, it hurts the right the most because this ideology comes from the left. But that I don't want to just say it's purely partisan, because there are a lot of people getting smacked by this. Because it's everyone who's anti-woke, which is a huge spectrum of folks. So what is the defense? Let's go to the socialists, see what they have to say. So let's go to the Mirror. Far right to get compensation for being cancelled in culture war Queen's speech. Yes, socialists.
Sorry, did you say this was the Mail?
Sorry, the Mirror. So the socialist outlet. But it's just like, yes, the far right and the far left, like you guys who write this newspaper, they're also people. And people have human rights. It doesn't matter that they're far right. It doesn't matter that you're far left. You still have human rights, and they still need to be protected. I mean, it's your money as well. I mean, let's take the neo-Nazis of Britain. If they still pay taxes, if they're at a public university, they still have rights. I know it's a controversial thing to say among socialists, but people have rights, and those rights are to be protected by the state, not to be taken away whenever you feel like it because, comrade, they're a traitor to the revolution. But it's just pathetic. Like, I'm not even going to give it the time of day, other than, look at it. Look at it. I mean, that's their defense. Would the far right have rights too? Yes. Chad, yes. So do you. So does the far left. So do the liberals. So does everyone. Not a discussion to be had. Pathetic. But otherwise, Conservative Party. Doing good things. I'm not even mad. I mean, get rid of Section 127 still and all the rest of it. But, I mean, what can you be? It's a good day.
If you enjoyed this segment from the podcast of the Lotus Eaters, you can watch the full broadcast live every weekday at 1 p.m. UK time on lotuseaters.com.